Welcome, everybody, to tonight's frequency meditation. I hope we've all had a great week. And we're all here together, and the whole point tonight is very simple. Let's just start by taking a breath in all together. Feeling that air in your lungs, noticing you and your body, and just right here, you've arrived. There's nothing to do, nothing to plan. Let's enjoy this time being here. So tonight what we're going to explore a habit. And there's a quiet habit that follows people even after they've been on this journey a long time. Life begins to feel steadier, more grounded. You've received insights. Relationships are better. You're connected. But there's this habit, underlying frequency set, just humming along continuously. And it's a habit of checking, monitoring. Checking if you're doing it right. Checking if you're present enough. Checking if you're aligned enough. Checking if you're safe, clear, connected, improving. It can sound responsible, like a helpful guardrail. But at a frequency level, what it does is it creates a split inside the moment. Part of you lives, and part of you watches you living. Like you're taking a test while you're still writing the answers. So this meditation tonight, this transmission, moves us into the place where the monitoring, the check-in, it softens. Life gets to run as one stream again. The stream feels simple enough. Simple enough for a 10-year-old because it's the same stream you already lived inside as a child. You play, you rest, you speak, you move. And the moment carries itself, just like a 10-year-old. Let's return to that version before the interruptions of the mind. A very deep program, by the way. Really belonging more to a time when we're in survival mode, when we need that constant monitoring, but we're not in a survival mode anymore. You might think you are, but not compared to where you've been. So let's release this. And one thing that I've observed is we'll never go into that next version of ourselves unless we're 100% convinced it's a better version, it's a better scenario than the one that we're in right now. That might not seem logical, that why would you stay in a version here, not move into that next version? But humans are not that logical. Our basic needs are safety, survival, and familiarity brings a sense of safety. So even if we're in a toxic relationship, or we are the toxic one, if it's familiar to us, if we're used to it, we know we can guide it. We kind of feel like we have a sense of control about what's happening. We'll stay there instead of stepping into the unknown. So tonight's transmission Just really bringing home that next version of you, or it could be the 50th next version of you, renders itself more efficiently without this interruption, this disruption of us always monitoring and checking if we're on track. Letting that wholer version of us fully take the reins. If your eyes are closed, open your eyes, look around you. Look at the environment that's been created around you. Just observe it, no judgment. And then close your eyes and come into your other environment, the one that within your body. Taking a breath in. Coming to that center point in your brain, in the sphere. Just notice the left side of the brain, the right side, and then just settling in right now into that center part. Then we arrive into a moment that's already moving. The room's already here. The body's already holding its weight. Breathing is already happening. Sounds are already coming and going. A thought can rise, pass through, and drift on. A feeling can rise, pass through, drift on. Body keeps its balance. Time keeps its rhythm. There's something quietly powerful in seeing that life functions even before the mind adds commentary. The whole system has an intelligence. It runs deeper than the voice that checks it. When intention rests inside what's actually happening, it begins to feel like sitting in the front seat of your own life again, looking out through your eyes instead of hovering above yourself trying to manage the scene. The checking habit has a very particular texture to it. It can show up like a small question that keeps looping. Am I okay? Am I doing this right? Am I behind? Am I ahead? Am I getting it? Am I missing something? Even a child feels this sometimes at school or in sport when they start watching their own performance rather than playing. The body tightens a little, breathing gets a little smaller, the mind starts running two tracks at once. The track of living and the track of grading. It's how we fragment ourselves. But as we breathe in this space together, as we bring that awareness in, the system begins to recognize that grading is optional. Life can be met directly. A moment, which is the only thing that's real, is this moment right now, can be lived in full, but it can complete. That completion is a kind of cleanliness, like finishing a sentence and feeling the period land rather than leaving a sentence hanging in the air. Another deep breath in. You in your sphere, just noticing your spine as well. For those of you who know the movement, just from the sphere, traveling down our spine, center point, right to the core of the earth, bringing in these frequencies, breathing in these pure frequencies, we have access to. It's in the same density as us, coming right back up through the spine to our sphere, just resting here, center in this moment. That's really our task. It's positioning ourselves. And attention can stay available in a gentle way. Kind of think of it like holding a soft gaze across a room rather than aiming a bright torch at any one tiny spot. You see what matters, you stay responsive, yet you stay kind of inside the intention itself. You're kind to yourself. When attention carries kindness, the body tends to stay organized. The breath stays steady. The mind stays quieter. Timing begins to sharpen because timing comes from being here. And being here gives you the real information. We only receive, there's only connection in the present moment, in this second. All future moments are not real. It's created through our filters. So when you're here now, without having that need to monitor and check your progress, how you are, we start collapsing those fragments, come into wholeness. And then choices begin to feel simpler because there's less inner bargaining, less inner rehearsal, less inner scorekeeping. Your system just moves as one team. And breathing in. Maybe notice this inner environment shifting. A little quieter, more spacious. Possibilities might start peeking through. This shows up in ordinary life very clearly. When we're just here, not needing to be monitoring ourselves. Conversation becomes one conversation rather than a conversation plus a private review running in the background. A task becomes one task rather than a task plus a performance report. Rest becomes real rest because the system gives itself permission to settle. Even fun becomes clean fun because you meet it directly. No commentary in the background. For some of those non-deserving programs, even fun can feel like a responsibility not earned. This feels too good. I don't deserve it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. This checking is like waiting for that shoe to drop always. Quiet moments will start to become easier for you because silence feels like shared space rather than something to fill. When you're with someone who you care about, you can actually be with them, show up, rather than being with them while also checking how you're doing in the relationship. That single shift changes everything. Because relationship love one thing more than any clever words, and that's clean presence. sure you've all been with people who they're talking to you, but they're not there. They're fragmented. They're doing something else. They're monitoring, they're checking, but they're not engaged presence. Also, I'm sure you've been with people who you really feel like they see you, they hear you, they're with you right now. There's nothing more valuable than clean presence. Another breath in as we stay here. Observing your body. Notice how the body becomes to feel like a trustworthy home base. Your feet meet the ground, your spine carries its line, your face softens, your eyes soften. There's a simple dignity in being held by your own structure. And then trust becomes practical. Being present here. You start to recognize that you've been walking for years and the body already carries the skill of walking. So you can walk across a room and the mind doesn't need to supervise every step. Same is true for living. Life already has a momentum. Life already has sequencing. Life already has completion. That checking habit can relax. The system keeps functioning, often with more ease, more accuracy for you than us interrupting the process. So let the checker soften and bring in that the moment holds you. Giving yourself permission to stop this self-monitoring, thinking, having the illusion that by monitoring yourself, checking yourself, being in the future moment, that will give the optimal consequence. It's the opposite. Enormous amount of responsibility we've placed on ourselves to try and control, monitor a system that is so highly sophisticated, intelligent, well beyond our means. It's like if you had a toddler in the back of your car and you're driving and it's constantly monitoring, checking how you're doing, interrupting the flow. When the driver is very competent, knows exactly how to get to where it's going without the commentary in the back seat, so that this transmission move through like a warm tide through the whole body. Mind stop trying to sit in the control tower. Experience carries itself and you're inside it. Just letting your body stay upright with a quiet steadiness. Have your attention rest in this simple truth of contact. Whether your feet on the floor, body in space, breath moving, sounds are arriving, the room's holding you. Just let thoughts pass through like clouds passing across a sky, if you like. And feelings can pass through like weather passing across the day. There's a deep simplicity here, kind of pure truth under the noise, where living has always been happening carries a natural order. And in this order, you feel the difference between living and watching yourself live. Your system will always choose living as the cleaner option. It's kind of like stepping outside of a costume and returning to your own skin. Another deep breath in. And from our sphere, just dropping down the spine, you and your spine, to the core of the earth. And as we breathe in these frequencies, these pure frequencies from the core of the earth, same density as you are, so we have access to it, right up through the spine to your sphere, that center point in your brain. From here, just expand out all directions, arm's length around you into your frequency field, up, down, front, back, side to side, you centered. Everything is equally distributed. Your field returns with a calm strength, feels like one stream again. You're not fragmented, different timelines, all at the same time. You might start to have that awareness of how often the checking tried to help, but how often it actually made things harder by splitting the moment. Here the split dissolves. There's simple unity. What you sense, what you feel, what you think, what you do, all moving through one space together. And you can be serious and steady and also light. You can be focused and also relaxed. Your body becomes a friend again because it's no longer being audited. Your mind becomes a friend again because it's no longer being used as a scoreboard. You just simply are. This shift creates cleaner sequencing. You'll find that you respond when response is needed. You rest when rest is needed. You speak when speaking is needed. You move when movement is needed. And then each piece finishes. There's less carryover. There's less leftover static. This is where ease becomes a kind of precision because the system stops wasting energy on inner commentary. That consistent inner commentary, we're so used to it. It's almost like white noise, but it's not. It's very disruptive. And ease lets the real signal of timing come through. In the absolute view, coherence already exists as a whole architecture, complete, intact. But in the relative view, you live coherence as a clean sequence, one thing, then the next thing, with completion between. Let's bring this in one stream of living. Let's disconnect from that fragmentation, come back to the whole, the one moment that knows exactly how to create itself efficiently, abundantly. And the transmission arrives like a steady current that gathers everything into one lane. Your attention stays open and soft, and the moment feels wide enough to hold everything that arises. There's no need to zoom in and pick apart each thought or feeling. The body keeps its organization it's like a quiet intelligence running under the surface. Your choices come from contact with what's real. That contact feels simple. And it's the same simplicity a child has when they are fully in a game. They respond, they adapt, they move, they laugh, they pause, they run. And the game carries itself. So in this field, the grown-up version of that innocence returns as competence. You become efficient again. You become clean again. You become direct again. Life feels less like a project, more like participation. So again, from our sphere, we just stay here, centered in this moment. No need to monitor, no need to check. That whole version of you has your back. It's incredibly competent. And those very things you want, those very things you yearn for, those very things you want to avoid, well, where did those thoughts come from? They came from your higher self, your more complete self, giving you the guidance. But we've misinterpreted it because of where we are positioned into thinking that's what we need to ask the universe, ask our fuller self, request, be denied. We always constantly have to be monitoring, having this debate. When in fact, the very thing you want has come from your higher self, giving you the guidance, the head-ups of this is what's on offer. And that's why life then starts feeling less like a project and more like a co-creation, a participation. And daily life starts to feel more reachable inside the meditation, because if it's the same mechanism you use in the kitchen, in a meeting, on a walk, in a text message, in a different conversation, the mind can still think. It is always trying to grade every breath. Your heart, the heart can still care, yet it stops trying to prove that care. The body can still feel, yet it stops trying to justify feeling. So your attention becomes an ally, like a good friend walking beside you, rather than a teacher following you around with a red pen. How many people relate to that? Another breath in, noticing your spine, noticing you and your sphere. This is where then you start to realize the practical cost of checking. Checking turns life into a two-person job. One part lives, one part judges. That division, that fragmentation, drains energy. So when the division dissolves, as that's what we're doing right now, this transmission, as we breathe in, energy returns to the place that matters. Creativity, play, rest, warmth, clarity, strength. Creativity comes through in its own timing, like a bird landing where it feels safe rather than being chased out of the sky. Rest drops deeper, like a stone settling on the bottom of a clear lake. I'm on a lake right now. Pleasure becomes clean because you meet it directly in the body in the moment. Without that commentary, do I deserve this? Is this good? Am I being responsible? Am I being irresponsible? You'll find relationships become easier because you're present with a person rather than busy with a private review of yourself. There's also a quiet magic here that stays beyond full explanation. Biology and nervous system regulation matter. Attention patterns matter. But there's also a creative intelligence in life itself, a mysterious organizing. Mysterious organizing force that responds when the inner split dissolves. It's as if life has been waiting for you to meet it in one piece. When you do, it meets you back with the same coherence. The system starts functioning as a whole, and coherence expresses itself in the ordinary. Speech arriving cleanly, movement arriving cleanly, timing arriving cleanly, silence arriving cleanly. The field holds you, your frequency field, and you hold the field. And that's when the relationship between you and life feels straightforward. Your blueprint stays whole and complete. And you experience that wholeness as easy completion, moments finishing, energy staying available, attention staying kind, and the body staying organized. So you live as one stream. That one stream, that unity, becomes the quiet power underneath everything. So let's bring in that awareness for you, that you start to become aware of how much you self-monitor. That inner analytical mind. So you can release it. Have the confidence, the safety in knowing just being present and observing, participating in the moment is enough. It's more than enough to create a life beyond anything you could fathom. letting that one stream restore efficiency. Really knowing that that checking habit creates a split that drains energy. Completion with everything becomes easier when the system lives inside the moment rather than grading the moment, observing the moment. Zen practice is all about this. There's a couple other pretty phenomenal people who spent their whole life on this aspect. You want to investigate in your own time, but Jaidu, what's his name? Jaidu Krishnamurti. He's done a lot of work on how direct perception, the dissolving of that inner judge, releasing that distortion that by constantly monitoring yourself, constantly judging within what's happening is beneficial to you. It's not. Not needed. It's not necessary. So we just come into the present moment and be able to participate in the movie you're in. You know, my remit always was that let me just be aware of the moment, of the movie I'm in. Because when I'm in the future moment, or when I'm always checking and judging, I'm not in my movie. By the way, that I star in. I'm more in the commercials. So I don't want to miss out while I'm here in physical form. I'm being aware of the magic that we're creating right now. And how we're co-creating it with that wholer version of ourselves. I'll leave everybody here. Stay here for a little bit, just you on your own with your wholer self. See what comes to you. And I hope everybody has a really beautiful week. Next week I'll be in London, so we'll be doing it from London.